Hi friends, welcome to my channel, and this is part 2 of the VMware vSphere Replication and SRM, where we are going to do some deployment and testing for the VMware disaster recovery infrastructure. So basically we are going to do the SRM and the replication. So we are now in part 2 where we are going to do deploy and configure the VMware Replication 8.3.0. So in last video we have discussed about the VMware replication, like how it's work and where we can use the VMware replication, and we have also gone through some technical detail about the VMware replication. So if you have not watched the VMware basically last video, which is VMware replication introduction video, so you can go and watch that video so you can understand what we are going to do and why we are require the VMware replication to set up for the SRM, and how we can use these SRM and VMware replication together. So let's get started. So we are here to deploy and configure the VMware replication. So this is you can say the VMware replication is going to be an appliance which we are going to deploy. This is going to be the same as a virtual machine appliance as we used to deploy the VMware vCenter server, which is running on VCSA or the appliance. So let's get started. So in this infrastructure basically which we are going to use in demo, we have a two site, which is source site and target site. So source site is our production site and target site is our DR site. So we are going to set up in the same way. So here is the before you start the VMware replication a deployment and all, you need to make sure you have a supported version of VMware replication and vCenter server. So because both depends on each other, so you need to make sure it's have the supported version. So in my infrastructure I am using vCenter server 7, so which is compatible with the only VMware replication vSphere Replication 8.3. so I'm going to deploy the same. So we have a vCenter server infrastructure 7.0, and we are going to deploy VMware vSphere Replication 8.3. So also I have a ESXi, also those ESXi are running on vCenter server 7, so we are good to deploy that. So you must need to go and check the VMware replication support matrix. So demo infrastructure, which I have already discussed, so I have VMware production side and VMware DR side. So in VMware production side I have basically a few machines, which is first machine is Win 10 console. This is the console machine where I am going to use for my use like deployment of the virtual appliance and all. So this is Windows 10 machine. And second machine I have a Win 2K12 DC01. This is my domain controller. So Win 2K12 ISCSI, which is going to be ISCSI server, which is providing data store and storage to our infrastructure, which is getting used in VMware, like ESXi storage to ESXi host and vCenter servers. So this machine is VMware veeam. This I can you can forget about this machine. So I have deployed this infrastructure in veeam also in this infrastructure. That is that. So in next we have a in VCSA, which is our vCenter server running VCSA 7.0, and these are the IP address configuration and other thing which is technical details related to infrastructure. And I have two ASXi hosts both running 7.0, and lastly we are going to deploy this prod VR01 in our production side. And in the DR side I have two ASXi host and one vCenter, and we are going to deploy INDR VR01. So these are the infrastructure which we are going to do. So let's check the infrastructure. So this is my first machine. Active Directory and DNS is running on this machine. So if you go here, you can see here Win 2K12 DC01. So this is my domain controller. I got ISCSI server. So this ISCSI server is providing storage to both the production and DR, since this is a demo environment only. So this is ISCSI. This is my Windows 10 machine where I am going to use my for my upgrade, basically purpose of the deployment appliance and all. So I'm going to access the our all the host ESXi and vCenter and VRA appliance or VRA console from this machine only. and we got two ESXi hosts running VMware ESXi 7.0 for production ESXi 1, production ESXi 2, and DR ESXi 1 and DR ESXi 2. So since this is a demo environment, I am running everything on my VMware workstation 15 here. You can see, and this machine got 128 gig of memory, and this machine also got basically you can say the i7. So I can show you the configuration of this machine. So this has got i7 Extreme series processor and 128 gig of memory. So if you are going to do some such heavy environment setup in your virtual machine environment on a single desktop, so you require some powerful machine to set up such infrastructure. So let's get started. So this is my IN VCSA. So production VCSA you can say. So if I go here, you can see this is running 7.0, and this is my DR. So if I go here, you can running 7.0. So this is good. So I got now my vSphere Replication setup downloaded here, which is 8.3. so we have already checked the support metrics, so these both are compatible for each other. So let's get started. So I'm going to map this or double click on this, so it's going to map as a D drive in my machine, E drive basically. So if I go here and updates, basically the files which we require is these five files, where the two is VMDK files and other are OVF and configuration and certificate file. So if I go here, let's deploy the first in production. So I'm going to click on my cluster, you can say, or ESXi, anywhere you can select. So just right click and deploy OVF templates. So you need to provide the local path, and local path is our E drive. So I'm going to select my all five file which is related to OVF for the appliance vSphere Replications, not for the add-on. So just open this. So now you can see the five files is selected, so click next, and then it's going to ask you the name. So I'm going to provide a name from my Excel file which I have basically all the information about the infrastructure. So this is inprod VRA01 virtual replication, vSphere Replication appliance 01. So click next, and then it's going to ask you the cluster where you want to deploy this compute resource. So I am going to select my cluster, prod cluster. So now it's going to give you trusted certificate, publisher, who is the publisher, and it's going to product name VMware vSphere Replication appliance, and this is version and vendor and description, and got the download size and the disk on size. So we are good. Just click on next. Now we have a license agreement, so I accept all license, click next. Now we got the CPU option. So I'm since this is demo, I'm going to use the two vCPUs. So click next, and now it will ask you for the storage. So I'm going to use my cluster storage cluster, which is prod DS. So go ahead and click next, and now I'm going to select my network. So I'm going to use my VMnet port group. So an IP, I'm going to use the IPv4 and manual. So click next, and now it's going to ask you some details, like first thing you need to provide the password for the virtual appliance, and second thing you need a IP of your INTP server. So I'm going to put my INTP server, which is my domain controller itself, and then I need to put the host name, what is the host name it's going to be, and the IP version, IPv4 we have already selected in last tab. So it's going to ask you the gateway, so I'm going to provide my gateway, and domain search name. So it's going to be my vector info sol.lan, and same domain search path is going to be the same, and domain server name is going to be my DNS, which is 192.168.201 in my infrastructure, and the management IP I got this for VR replication appliance, I got this IP address, so I'm going to put that IP address, and the subnet was 255.255.255.0. So this is going to be provider VMware extension services, so click next, and this is going to be all the details which we have selected. So just click on finish. So once you click on finish, you can see import OVF package is running for the cluster prod cluster. So same task I'm going to perform on my DR site also, because you need to deploy the same appliance at the both both data center or sites, you can say. So deploy OVF template, just need to follow the identical settings, but we need to make sure the IP and hostname is different, which match the DR site. So click next, and I got the name from my this Excel sheet, so I pasted here. So this is going to be INDR VRA01, and select the data center for compute resource and review the details. So it's going to give the same information about the review details, so just click next. I accept the license agreement, click next, and then I got 2 vCPUs, click next. The storage selection, I need to select the proper disk where a data store or data store cluster where I want to deploy this machine, the virtual appliance. So I got my DR disk storage cluster, so click next, and now I'm going to select my correct VLAN or destination network, which is VMnet, and click next. Now IP is going to be static, and now we are at the page of providing the password and all technical details for this machine. So NTP server is going to be a 192.168.201. Hostname is going to be INDR VR01, and then we got the gateway, so 192.168.0. and domain name victorinfosol.lan. Domain search patch is going to be the same, and this is going to be a 201, my domain controller name IP, and this is going to be a 122. So, and then we got the subnet mask, so click next. Once you are done with all the customized template, click next, and now we are going to deploy. Just click finish, and this is going to import the OVF package now. And if I go to prod now, you can see it's about 100% complete. So once the deployment is complete and import is complete for the OVF package, the machine is not going to start automatically, so we need to start it manually. So I will wait for this deployment to be finished on both the sites, and then I'm going to power on the virtual machines replication appliance one by one. So now the appliance is deployed on both prod and DR sites, so I'm going to just power on these appliance, and then we will review how it's going to be configured. So this is automatically going to configure everything which we have done through the setup wizard of the deployment wizard of this VMware vSphere replication appliance. So it's going to be pretty much configure automatically, and once the appliance is available for the post configuration task, then we can power on. Basically we can go and log in to the appliance itself, management console, and then we can configure it. So it's going to be very automated, you can say, the deployment of these required things which is required to configure an VRA. So you can see it's going to be power on, then it's going to run some script from itself, and then we are going to get it ready. So just monitor the second DR site replication appliance. So this is also powered on now, and it's going to start the configuration soon. So you can see it's going starting some services, starting user manager and everything. So it's going to take 5 to 10 minutes to get the configuration done for this machine, and then we can go ahead and log into these appliances. So let's wait for this. So now both replication appliances powered on and configured, so we can go ahead and to manage this appliance we can go to port this address. So I'm going to log into the virtual appliance. So this is going to be https:// and 204 for our production site, so 5480, and going to just click on login. So it's going to ask you the credential, root and the password which we have set up during the deployment. So now you can see we are able to log into VMware replication appliance, and this is going to use some introduction page. So protected size, recovery site is going to give you some information. Then you can go ahead and configure the appliance. So if you go here on setup configuration, startup configuration, you can see it's going to be automatically pick up your appliance vCenter server name and credential for SOS, and you need to just type the SOS credential, uh, password for the SOS for the administrator at vSphere.local, and then you got all these information like VRA SRM site, uh, VRM site, and these are going to be vCenter server address and port and other details. So you just need to click on save and restart services. That's all which what you need to do it from here. So you can see this service status. You can see the repl replication manager is in the stop state. So once this is done, it's going to in running state, and then we can go ahead and use the VMware replication appliance or the VMware replication console from our vCenter infrastructure. So let's get and accept the certificate. Now you can see it's going to soon it's going to be verify the configuration and going to saving configuration, and then it's going to check do some configuration at the back end. It's going to deploy some basically configure the our infrastructure also, and it's going to deploy some agents on our ESXi host. So let's set up the other VRA replication appliance, which is 122, so 5480, and this is going to be our DR site replication appliance. So put the credential. So you can see if you go to configuration page, you can see this is INDR VCSS01 and details already picked up by your appliance, and just need to click save and restart settings. So we got the password for this appliance, got the password for the SOS, and it's going to authenticate and install the services and deploy the replication agent on ESXi host. So this is good. So now you can see starting VRMS, so which is VMware replication manager. So it's going to take some time. It's going to take 5 to 10 minutes to get the services up and deploy the agents on all your ESXi host, depending on how much ESXi host you have in your vCenter server. So it's depend on those parameters also. So you can see configuring virtual machine is going to configure few things, and now you can see the install for prod ESXi01 and 02 is running, which is basically installing our VMware vSphere Replication agent, you can say. This is going to take some time to get the installation and configuration done. So you can see now the services are running, and once this is set up done, you can go ahead and log out basically from the appliance. And now if you go to the home and shortcuts, you will see here site recovery soon. So it's going to take some time. You need to refresh, or you can go ahead and log in and log off and log in back, so you will see this. So just wait for it. And this is, I'm waiting for this appliance to be configuration complete, and then I can go ahead and verify the replication on both prod and DR side for the site recovery. So now you can see the DR is also configured, so successfully saved and saved the configuration, and as a VRM and Tomcat service both are in running state, so we can go ahead and log out here. And I'm going to close this console also for both replication appliance, and you can see the installation is completed for the replication appliance agent on both the host. So this is good. So just we need to wait for some time to get the replication site recovery available on the data on the shortcut page. So now you can see we got site recovery option, or you can see the shortcut on both the vCenter servers, which is our production, which is INVCSA01 and INDRVCSA01. So let's configure this. So when I click on site recovery manager, site recovery, it's going to open this configuration, which is going to show you the details of the vSphere replication, the replication appliance IP address and replication appliance version. So let's go ahead and open site recovery. So same, if you go to DR site, you will see this, the replication appliance IP address and the version. So now you need to create the site pair between your two sites, which you have primary and secondary site. So I'm going to click on new site pair, and this is my source site, which is first site, and this for the second site I require the PSC host name. So this, in my case, it's INDR PCSA dot 01 dot Victor infosol dot LAN, and port is going to be same, and username is going to be administrator vSphere local, and I'm going to put my credential for this and click next. And this is going to be a security warning, so just go ahead and click connect, and this is going to give you the replication appliance name. So you got vSphere replication, and it's got the both the connections of the sites, so you can see, and just click on next and ready to finish. So first site is going to be INVCSA01, which is our production site, and second site is INDRVCSA, which is our DR site. And this is going to be a use VMware replication, and site manager is currently not configured. We will configure it later on as discussed in startup. So just click on finish. So now if you click here, you can, if you click on replication, we don't have any replication now. So if you click here, you can see the site replication, and you can see all the details, like from where you are replicating and all other details. So if I go here, you can see the replication within the same server and what is have. So if I click on home, you can see the pair, which is our prod server, and this is our DR server. So we don't have vSphere replication outgoing or incoming for now, so we will configure it in next video. So in this video we have basically deployed and configured the VMware Replication 8.3.0. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe me for more videos. And if you have any question, any query on this video, you can always post me on my video, and keep watching the next few videos of this series, so you can get the a better idea about the VMware DR site and everything. So thanks once again. Bye bye.